Good morning, class. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a good day. Today, our lesson is about cubes. So, what does it mean to be cubed? What does it mean to be squared? Well, let's think about what it means to be cubed. We're going to use a Rubik's Cube. That's going to help us figure out, illustrate what it means to be cubed. Now, if I look at this Rubik's Cube, I see it has 3 units that way, 3 units down that way, and 3 units back that way. If we just take two of them, if I take this one and this one, it makes the two sides of a square. Now notice they're all the same unit lengths. They're all 3. So if I took 3 by 3 and I found the area of that, that would be 9. 3 times 3, right? Well, if I want to find the volume, I'll do 3 times 3 times 3, all 3 dimensions. And that will tell me the volume. It also just happens to tell us how many little cubes are in here. So if I was to take that Rubik's Cube apart, because I was cheating and I wanted to solve it by taking it apart and putting it back together, I did that when I was younger. Reeves doesn't have to do that because he's pretty much a genius. And same thing with Nasser. Shout out to these guys. But if we were to multiply this side, 3 times 3 times 3, that would give us 27. And 27 is indeed 3 cubed. So basically, cubed is just the volume of a cube. Now, for it to be cubed, that means all 3 sides, all 3 dimensions are going to be the same. Every side. So all 3 dimensions are the same length. And so we just cube that number to find the volume. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our notes. I hope you have your notebook out. Today is Sunday, March 29th. Unit 8, exponents and roots. Go ahead and write this down, cubed roots. We're on day 6, cubed roots. Okay? Pause the video if you have to, but make sure you're keeping up with the notes. All right, so we have vocabulary. Again, if you need to pause it to write it down, please do that, because I'm going to go pretty quickly. Okay, vocabulary. What does it mean to be cubed? We've already talked about that. We're not talking about art, but what does it mean to be cubed? Write down your thoughts in your own words. Okay, so our first vocabulary word is going to be cubed. So what does it mean to be cubed? In a mathematical sense. To cube a number means that we multiply the base by itself 3 times. So in our illustration over here, the base, or one of the sides, didn't matter which side it is, but the base means the length was 3. It was the length of 3. And so we multiplied it by itself 3 times. 3 times 3 times 3. Should have picked 4. That would have been less confusing. Okay, so what does it mean to be a base? Well, a base of a power, if you think about a power, you have a number with a number above it. So the base of a power is when you multiply, it's what's being multiplied. It's at the bottom. And exponent means basically the number of times that you're multiplying it. So it's how many times you're multiplying the base. So if we're to look here, if I have 4 cubed, the base is what? The base is 4. And the exponent is what? The exponent is 3. Together, they make the power. So the base is 4. So to cube that base means we're multiplying it by itself 3 times. 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? And what would that be? It would be 64, right? 64 is a perfect cube. Just like we have perfect squares, we have perfect cubes. Okay? All right, so continuing on with our notes, a cubed root means what? If it cubed means you multiply by the base 3 times, by itself. Cubed root is what number can I multiply by 3 times to give me the number given. So if I'm given a number, what was cubed to get that number? Well, what's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. So if I have a number, let's say I have 64, I can divide 64 by 4, and I'm left with 16. But I can also divide 16 by 4, and I'm left with 4 again. So that's 4 times 4 times 4. I've multiplied it a number 3 times. Whoops. Get out of there. I multiplied a number 3 times, 4 times 4 times 4, to get this number 64. So 64, the cubed root of 64, means what number did I multiply by itself 3 times to get 64? Well, I can split it up into its factors, and I could say it's 64. I could do prime factors, or I can just do factors. Once I find a pair of 3, I can pull it out. So 64 is 4 times 4 times 4, and so that pulls out. So 4 cubed is 64, so the cubed root of 64 is 4. Okay, so a perfect cube is a number that is formed when a whole number is cubed. 64 is a perfect cubed. 27 is a perfect cubed, because that's 3 times 3 times 3. Go ahead and in your notes, list out a list of perfect cubes. So we're going to do that here together. 1, the perfect cubed 1 is 1 cubed. So that's 1 times 1 times 1. What's 2 times 2 times 2? 8. That's right. 8's also a perfect cube. What's another perfect cube? 27. Very good. What's another perfect cube? 64. Good. And then what is 5 times 5 times 5? 5 times 5 is 25. If you have 5 quarters, that's $1.25 or a Durham 25. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 250. I'm sorry, 125. 125. 6 cubed is 216. 7 cubed is 343. So just if you see 343, that pattern, you know it's 7. And then that would be 8 cubed, 9 cubed. What's 10 cubed? 10 times 10 is 100. Times 10 again is going to be 1,000. So that's a list of our perfect cubes. The cubed root of 1 is 1. The cubed root of 8 is 2. The cubed root of 27 is 3. Cubed root of 64 is 4. Cubed root of 125 is 5, etc. 6, 7, 8, 9. And the cubed root of 1,000 is 10. All right, so what happens if you cube a negative? Well, let's look. What's negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2? Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Then times negative 2 again would be negative 8. So can we have a negative perfect cube? Yeah, we just did it. The answer is yes. All right, so then that means, that makes me wonder, well, what about square rooting? Can I square root? Can I square root a negative? No, but can I cubed root a negative? Yes, also. So let's go ahead and look at cubed roots. And we're going to go ahead and look at some cubed roots. Here, let me go ahead and answer my question. Can we cube root a negative? Can I move this out of the way? Yeah. Can we cube root a negative? Absolutely yes. But can we square root a negative? Think about it. What's the answer? That's right. We cannot square root a negative, but we can cube root. Why? Because if you multiply a number times itself 3 times, a negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative again becomes negative. Okay? This is only dealing with real numbers. If you're dealing with complex numbers or imaginary numbers, then yes, you can also deal with negatives with square roots. But for real numbers, no negative square roots. But you can have negative cube roots. All right. So let's go ahead and finish this off by doing some practice with cube roots. All right. Please excuse my my screen there. Okay, so we're going to be inspired by our Rubik's Cube here. Let's take the cube root of 125. Did you write those cubed roots down? If you did, you could just look at the list. Okay, I see it ends in 5, so I know I can divide that by 5. I'm breaking it down into its roots. 125 divided by 5 is 25. Can we divide 25 by 5? Yes, we can. Okay, so 125, and you do not have to write it like this when you do cubed roots, by the way. 125 is 5 times 5 times 5. I have a set of 3. So the cubed root of 125 is simply 5. Did you see it? What number did we multiply together 3 times to get 125? It was 5. Okay, now let me give you one to try. What would be the cubed root of 8? You could look on your list, or you can think, what can I divide 8 by? Oh, I can divide 8 by 2. Can I divide it by 4? Yeah, I can divide it by 4 also. But I can only divide it by 4 one time. How many times can we divide it by 2? We can divide it by 2 once, twice, and then 3 times. So the cubed root of 8 is 2. All right, well that works for perfect cubes. What if it's not a perfect cube? Well, then it's going to be an irrational number. Can we simplify cubes? Yeah, you can simplify cubes just like we simplified squares. So let me give you an example. Okay? What is the cubed root of 375? What's the cubed root of 375? I know, I can see I can divide it by 5. If you're really clever, you can see that you can actually divide it by 25. But let's just divide it by 5 to start off with. If I divide that by 5, I see that I have 75 left. Okay? Ooh, I can divide that by 5 again. I can divide it by 25, actually. And I see that 7 plus 5 is 12, so I know I can also divide it by 3. So we could have gone that route and started off with dividing it by 3. Okay, so I see that this is divisible by 5 times. I can divide it by 5 1, 2, 3 times. So I can pull that 5 out. I can pull out those factors. What's left? It's a 3. So the 3 has to stay under the cubed root. Okay? So the cubed root of 375 is 5 times the cubed root of 3. I want you to try. Go ahead and try to simplify the cubed root of 16. Square root of 16 is 4, but we're not going to do that. Okay, go ahead and try it. Did you try it? All right, I hope you paused the video. Okay, 16 is, 4 times 4. And so we end up with 2, but we have 1 2 left over. So it's 2 times the cubed root of 2.